Alright, welcome back to the lab. Me and Tommy, we're actually here on the weekend. It's just me and Tommy. We're just kind of messing around with some stuff. It's kind of ironic. We were hunting a project to do. I pulled out a magazine and the cover was off of it, and I was going to tape it up. So I went to get the tape and half of it fell out when I pulled it off the shelf. As you can see, this is our organization for the tape, and it's not that great. Tommy, who hates organization, even said this sucked. So we're gonna build a tape rack. We've been needing it for a while. So I came up with the idea of some sort of rack, and Tommy suggested just something we could set it on. I went and grabbed these two small, I grabbed a 1x4 and these two small square dowels, and suggested that we just make a rack for it to sit on like that, which works. Most of the tape is this size. We do have some smaller sizes, but even that would just sit a little loose on there. The problem with this is the tape rolls stick out past on both sides. We kind of want this to where it will go up against a wall, which led us to using a 1x6 and spacing these the same and just having space behind. It lets them stick out front where it's easy to get. It still lets us put a back on it behind there. I was going to go up and put shelves in with these on there, and I think it was Tommy that suggested let's just use dowels. Instead of making a solid shelf, let's just put two dowels suspended, which the tape can just cradle on the same. And we'll just drill holes and run these through. Which led me, like I said, this was a back and forth. This is how we solve problems around here, and how most of you do, and it's a good routine. That instead of just making our regular layout, we can also come in the middle, drill 3 holes, and drill a series all the way up, and that will allow for the bigger tape rolls, and we can do a couple racks for the small ones, and they're almost infinitely adjustable. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make this thing we're going to make it 2 foot wide, 24 inches, and we decided on 3 foot high, which is actually we're going to do 3 foot 1.5 inches, because we're going to do a full 3 foot inside, and we got to allow for the 2 3/4 boards on top and bottom. Cut all the 1x6s to the 4 lengths, and then we'll probably lay one out, clamp the other one to it, drill all the holes in it to suit these dowels, and then we'll assemble it, and we'll cut a piece of thin, probably hardboard, to go on the back to keep it from racking. So let's just get right to that. Okay, Tommy's gonna
get some safety glasses.
Yeah, Tommy's gonna get some safety glasses, folks, because Tommy wants to retain his vision. If we're gonna lose our vision, it's gonna be something exploding, not something silly. Alright, so Tommy has taped all these dowels together. What could possibly go wrong, he says. So this time we both have safety glasses. Now this should work just fine. These don't have to be like precise measurements, these dowels. We just got to get them pretty close.
Don't do it like this. Just don't do it like this.
Yeah.
Do it one at a time.
Do as Tommy says, not as he does, folks. Well, it worked. We're doing our layout here. We're trying to figure out where we want. We're going to be doing 3 positions, and that allows us to take the center one out, and it'll be too wide apart for the big rolls of tape to sit in. And then we can just use the front 2 if we want to use for these smaller rolls. We'll set them forward and get them. We're figuring we're going to set in about 1/4 inch. These are 5/8, so we need to add 5/16 to that to get our center line. And then figure our back 2. Tommy's laying it out here. We're going to draw some lines down, and then we're going to figure out how. I think we figured 6 inches from center to center, or 3 inches. Our biggest roll of tape is probably this aluminized duct tape here. 6 inches is enough to get something like this in its little cradle. still be able to pull it out of there, and then you put the 3-inch in case we have a couple rolls of this. It's gonna be a lot of holes to drill, but the versatility we'll have in the end, and we're just using these to play around with. These are a cut our actual.
You want to leave enough room underneath to put things? Or?
Yes. We have some tape like this here in the dispenser. We also have tapes like this. It's a double-sided tape. Now this we tested. This will sit on the little pegs with our design, but you know, we want to leave room where we can just sit this on the shelf under. It's a good spot for it, and it doesn't get anything weird onto our pegs up here that can get knocked off or just throw us out of that. So we want to start. I'm hoping we can stay. Push it. Yeah, we can't stay on it. We'll start at 3.5 on the first one, and then lay out 3-inch centers on that after that. Is that what do you think, Tom?
Just kind of depends on where it ends up towards the top.
That's true. It's like 30 holes. 35 holes. What I'm going to do is clamp these two boards together where I don't have to lay out the other one.
We don't have to drill pilot holes for these, do we?
No. We're going to use Forstner bits because that's what we've got. And they should do a pretty clean hole too. So, actually I want to be strategic about this. This is the front of the board here. This is the back. And this one has a little messed up spot. We want that towards the back where you won't really see it too much. So I want to make sure that that is towards the back of our rack here. And also we want to make sure that that is turned towards the inside. Now I'm drilling through. We're going to have a board under this, so it should be minimal bust out on the back. But being that that's the case, I want this to be the inside too. So we want to make sure that's to the back and the inside. Alright, so I'm just going to start. We're going to have to move the clamps a few times, and I'm going to spare you from having to watch us drill all these holes. So we're just going to drill a few for you to get the idea. Got a little bit of bust out on the back, very little. These Forstner bits do a pretty good job. And that's one thing to brag on the big box store. They had these Ryobi Forstner bits on sale for I think $14, and they're pretty good bits for what we do around here at the lab. I don't know. Yeah, I probably would actually buy them for the shop. Most of the stuff we buy for the shop is a little heavier duty, more industrial because we're doing bigger work there. But yeah, I would probably buy these for the shop too. It was a good deal, and they work pretty good. So we're just going to keep drilling a ton more holes here, and I'm going to do that off camera just to get this more speed along here. Yep, got all the holes drilled. It's one of those times I didn't really think my way through this 100%. By laying it out and drilling like this, I figured the bust out on this one board where we could set it inside. We got this nice finish over here. But what I didn't figure is when I went through this one, we're going to have some bust out on the back too. And that's because this is not like high grade pine. This is just common white pine boards here. So what we're going to end up having is a real nice edge and one that is kind of messed up. But Tommy suggested, and well, I after looking at it, I suggested we should have set the depth on the drill press where we only drilled like 3/4 of the way deep on this side. So the dowels would have pushed through one side, went in and stopped, and not had a had holes in this side at all. And that's probably what we should have done initially, but we didn't. And then Tommy's come along and said, well, let's just get a veneer or a thin, like a 1/4 inch piece of plywood or something and cut and put over this side, and that'll hide our defect here and make the dowels only slide in from one side. So I think we might do that later on. For right now, we're just going to get it together and get some tape on it where we can get this thing usable. We can come back later and put a board on it, but I think Tommy's onto something with that. So we're going to pre-drill some holes for some screws, get this thing, this part assembled, and then we're going to rip down or cut down a piece of plywood to go on the back, and we'll square this thing up real nice, put that on, slide some dowels through, and we'll be done with it other than finishing it, which we'll either do on another video or might just spare you the finishing step of this. We kind of do everything on the cheap here, so these screws here we have a good many of. They're actually drywall screws, but they're going to work for this. I think I probably got these at an auction. Go to auctions, go to yard sales, garage sales, whatever they're called, car boot sales, whatever in your area. A lot of times guys will have these boxes, half boxes of nails, screws, stuff like that, real cheap, and that's where you get your supplies. If you buy exclusively retail, you're going to end up paying a lot of money when you don't really have to. We have almost a whole hardware store here in just the lab from us going to different kind of sales and picking up stuff. I'm sure this was probably a partial box that we got at an auction or something. That's another thing. Tools. Don't buy new unless you have to. We have 4 or 5 of these. They're older DeWalt's. They take the NiCad batteries. But we have 4 or 5 of these and some Black & Deckers that take the same battery here in the lab, and all of them we got used. Probably didn't pay over $10 for $10 US for any of these. And we're setting up with a bit, by the way, that's just the size of the shank or the minor diameter of that screw. And so we don't split these boards out when we put these screws in. Another good thing I like about having multiple drills in the shop or the lab is you can set one up with a drill bit, another one up with your driver. You know, if you're using a countersink, you can have a third drill set up with a countersink. We actually went through thought process. It's hard for me to do when I'm filming.
Something looks a little off there.
Yep. Yeah. Well, Tommy's decided he wants to drill these in the drill press just to make sure they're straight, because the screws we've got are a little long and we really don't want to split the board they're going into. So we want to make sure these are pretty straight through this other board. Will that reach all the way, Tommy?
Sure.
It's all the way through. Oh, that's quicker if you just throw another board on top. So this will get us just straighter through this board is all. That's the only reason we're drilling it like this. And it's always a good idea to put boards behind like this. It reduces the amount of breakthrough. It's not going to eliminate it, but it reduces it. Now we're using standard bits. I think these are probably 118 degree points, which is what most people have laying around. They're general purpose, metal and wood. But if you want to get real nice woodwork with very little bust through, you're going to need a set of brad point bits, which we don't have in the lab here, and we're not doing fine woodwork here anyway. It's got to be as good as what you need and what you're happy with. Alright, so to further keep this from busting out, that's our screw. When that pulls in, we really don't want this to bust out, so here's another drill. And we bought these new. I did a video on this drill on what I thought about it. But these were on sale at Walmart, actually. The drill, 2 batteries in the charger, lithium, 12 volts, small drill, for I think $12. We bought a bunch of these. And we've got a countersink bit in this. And what we're going to do...
I was thinking this would be the bottom piece.
Okay.
And this was going to be the top.
Alright. What we're going to do is countersink these so it don't bust out. About that much.
Oh, sorry.
Well, Tommy was filming the floor, but we're just going to countersink about that much, just enough for those heads to pull in and not try to pull the grain apart this close to the edge. When you're putting screws in this close to the edge of a board, especially pine, it's going to want anything that can push those grains apart and split it out. It's going to do that. So you want to take precautions. And look at your board. And I don't know if you can see that on the camera or not. This board's cupped, and most boards are, especially these common boards. And we're going to put that, this will be the top with a cupped up spot in the middle, so when we put the middle screw in, it'll kind of help pull down. That is not a very good habit of wiping those off like I did, but if you're going to wipe those off, go away from the edge of the board. If you come back this way, you're going to catch a splinter. But it's a bad habit nevertheless. You probably shouldn't do it either way. We're kind of afraid that these are going to want to bust this out, so we're going to try one in the scrap piece here, just to see if it has a tendency to bust this out, because these are going to go in pretty deep. They're a little long. We admit that a little long, but yeah, I think they're going to work out. They're number 6s.
That's sunk all the way in and didn't split.
So they're pretty small screws. Like I said, we could have went out and bought a box of screws, but it's late at night. It's on a Sunday. Most things are closed in our area. Even it's late enough that the big box stores are closed, and we want to get this done so the next actual club meeting we can concentrate on some other stuff. So I'm going to hold this and let Tommy. This is the top. So get this, the edges all even.
You want to put the middle one in first?
It's up to you. And Tommy is way more experienced at woodwork than I am. I'm more of a metal guy. So I usually, if that's what you want in a club. You want people to experience different things and take their advice when because you can learn from them. And the whole club becomes more well-rounded. All right. So there's our frame.
Put some sticks in.
Tommy's anxious to get some sticks there in it. We still got to cut the back. And the reason that I went with 2 foot wide instead of setting this on the outside and getting a full 2 foot on the inside, it's 2 foot to the outside, is I had a piece of this hardboard. It's 2 foot by 4 foot, and we didn't have any bigger sheets, and this is already cut, and we can just cut it to the height. It's 3 foot 1.5 inches. high. We can just cut that hardboard, put it on the back. That'll help us square this up and keep it from racking. But that was our reasoning behind that. So we're gonna put a couple of these sticks in there, and because Tommy's excited about it, I can tell. He's wanting to see this. Let's put a bottom in, I guess. These are just gonna slide through that. I'm gonna put a wider one in. Let's put two of the narrow ones right there, maybe, Tommy. That way we can kind of see. Now these are 5/8 dowels drilled with a 5/8 bit, so they fit a little tight. But we kind of want that, because once we get them in there, we don't really want them just falling out. You can kind of see how some of this bigger stuff will sit. You kind of see how that works. Bigger rolls fit, smaller rolls fit. It's a modular system. We can move stuff around. We can put two small rolls, you know, there on top of each other. We can go all big rolls, whatever we need. We've got good possibilities here, and then we got this open space below that we can sit these holders here.
Actually pretty sturdy without the back.
So we're gonna cut the back, and we'll get it all together and fill it up with tape and show you what it looks like. This is a piece that we had laying around that I had actually painted for a tabletop game, and it was too thin, didn't work for it. So we're gonna never waste. We're gonna use it, and I'm gonna turn. Normally this is the back side, but I kind of like that. How do you feel about that, Tommy? That look.
Looks fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn that in, just because I kind of like it better, and we don't have that nice smooth side anymore. What I'm going to do, this is the top up here, and this is the factory edge, not our cut edge. I'm going to line this up across the top, and we're going to nail that in. Get it straight, and then we'll square it up after I get this top nailed in. Thin boards, you want to make sure you're in the center of the board and go in as straight as possible. And I'm using threes. These are 3-penny nails, and these are just common nails. You could use sinkers or right, you could use finish nails, but this is what we have laying around. And you can see that we're a little out of square here, but nailing in that edge allows us to pull this thing into square, and then we can nail up this edge, and then it'll hold. So Tommy's going to hold that. That's our two sides. This is squared up now. Can't really go anywhere unless we flex this. I'm going to finish this up off camera, load it up with tape, bring you back, show you the end result. There it is. As you can see, I do need to get some more dowels to fill this up. Of course, this is most of our tape here, but I mean, we got it sort of organized. We just threw this on. We got, you know, our duct tapes across here, masking tapes. You know, here's some double-sided tapes. This is packing tapes and oddball stuff. Got our small rolls up here, and as you see, there's 8 rolls of electrical tape here, and some of them are tiny. And Tommy pointed out that our YouTube community is going to ask why we can't use a whole roll of electrical tape there before we go on to the next roll. But falling back to that, where I was telling you, you know, go to auctions, go to yard sales, car boot sales, flea markets. You know, we get box lots of stuff, and most every man or woman that works on stuff has electrical tape, and a lot of times those junk boxes will have rolls of this thrown in, and they'll be small. So I mean, we don't throw that away, and that's why we have so many. And you know, once we start using them, we'll use up a small roll before we move on. But that's why we have so many rolls of electrical tape there. Same way with masking tape. You know, there's 3 rolls of the same size.
What is wrong with this thing?
But, oh, the focus.
Yeah.
It just does that.
All right.
But there you see it. We have room down here for dispensers that have tape in it, and these odd, you know, and in case Tommy wants to wrap a present for someone for Christmas, we have tape for that. But yeah, there it is. I think it works out good, for at least for us. Check it. Adam Savage did a video on, I think he called his the Better Tape Dispenser or something, which was a real good design. Wasn't gonna, we liked that design, but it wasn't gonna work in our lab here, so we came up with this. But it's a good video, so you should check out it on his tested channel. But I'm gonna go get some more dowels, finish this thing out. But you see how it is. I might stain this and put the veneering on like Tommy suggested. But I think we're done. What do you think, Tommy?
You can grab exactly what tape you want.
Yeah. Before we had it thrown in that bin, you had to dig through the whole bin. Before that, we had it stacked on a shelf like that. But you can see we would have to like unstack to get the tape that we wanted. And with this design, all the tape side by side, we can get just the roll we want. You know, reach in, get just the roll we want. We got enough room in here, even with a full roll. Just lay your finger on the top, rolls right out. Unless you jam these together, nothing's in the way of anything else. The only problem I see with this so far, Tommy, is we need to get more tape to fill this thing up. You can never have enough tape. Another thing I want to point out before we go, that Tommy suggested, this, you can also go a little more versatile. With these on their widest position, we could cut a flat shelf and slide in here on top of this if we wanted to put something else in empty space. We can either put the dowels all the way through, or I even suggested that we might just cut some short dowels to peg in like this and lay a shelf on. So that's an option too. It can be even more versatile. I mean, you're only limited by your imagination, so don't let your imagination limit you.